This is a song for every girl who's ever been through something she thought she couldn't make it through. I sing these words because I was that girl too, wanting something better than this, but who do I turn to? Now we're moving from the darkness into the light. This is the defining moment of our lives. 'Cause you're beautiful like a flower, you're valuable like a diamond, you are powerful like a fire, you can heal the world with your mind. There is nothing in the world that you cannot do when you believe in you, who are beautiful, yeah you, who are powerful, yeah you, who are brilliant, yeah you, who are resilient. This is the song for every girl who feels that she's not special, 'cause she don't look like a supermodel. The next time the radio tells you, do you make your money? Shake your head and tell them you're a leader. Now we're moving from the darkness into the light. This is the defining moment of our life. 'Cause you're beautiful like a flower, more valuable than a diamond, you are powerful like a fire, you can heal the world with your mind. There is nothing in this world that you cannot do when you believe in you, who are beautiful, yeah you, who are powerful, yeah you, who are brilliant, yeah you, who are resilient, yes you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are brilliant and resilient, you're beautiful.
A number of years ago, I was watching I think it was like a 60 Minutes or Barbara Walters interview with Katharine Hepburn. It was absolutely fascinating. And the reporter, whoever it was, said, "What makes you happy?" And she thought for a minute. She said, "I don't know what happiness is, really." She thought for a moment. She said, "If I eat a box of chocolate turtles, I'm happy. If I have an empty box, I'm not happy." Makes perfect sense. I'm happy when I have chocolate. No more chocolate, I'm unhappy. So I went to my dictionary and I looked up happy because I was really curious. She didn't know what happy meant. I said, I wonder what it really means. So the very first definition was prosperity. I found it absolutely amazing. Great definition. So Katharine Hepburn felt prosperous when she was eating candy. She felt joy when she was doing something that she loved to do. What makes you feel prosperous? Think about that for a minute. What makes you happy? What gives your life joy and texture and just gratitude for being here on the planet? What makes you jump out of bed in the morning? What is your idea of being a prosperous person? I want you to close your eyes for a moment. We're going to have a little experiment here. Let your pure imagination run free just for a little while. So I want you to imagine your life in the most prosperous way you could ever imagine. Really go all the way there. If there were no limitations at all, nothing to get in the way of the perfect life for you, what would that be? Picture. What are you doing? Where are you? What does life look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What does it taste like? How do you feel being abundantly blessed in this way? Just be with that for a moment. And imagine yourself living this way right now. What emotions are coming up for you? Feel that. Revel in that nature. All right, take a breath. Open your eyes. You all look so happy. You all look prosperous. Oh my gosh. You look different now than you did a few moments ago because you changed yourself. Because you released something divine within your heart and your mind. Now, how many of us are living this life exactly the way you pictured it? Put your hand up. Exactly. No? Okay.
Just halfway count.
Yeah, half is good. Halfway up around is mediocre.
Or maybe some.
You're in process. We're all in process. We are all moving toward there. That's the goal, to move forward to that good. How many of us are really sad we had to open our eyes and come back? Now, if you are living that life or you're in process, congratulations. That's why we're here. We're here because that picture is telling us the truth. If you aren't living the life that you are meant to live, then you certainly are in the right place this morning. And I don't care how old you are or how old the calendar says you are. If you're 112 and you're still in your body, it means you have work to do. No matter how old you are, if you have a body, it means you're not finished. It means that picture you had is still available and still longing for you to meet it and to exceed it. Now, if you've been attending Unity for any length of time, you know that prosperity is just not about money. That's not what we really mean when we say abundance. No, of course, it does include our financial well-being, but it isn't just about money or how much I can accumulate in my life. But since it's always on our mind, since we need a lot of it to live in this area in particular, let's chat about it just for a little bit. Money tends to be a rather mysterious thing, doesn't it? After all, most of us in the world, we do what we do a majority of the day to get money, because we need money to do what we need to do for the rest of the day. It plays a very prominent role in our lives. Not long ago, some kids were asked about their philosophy on money. It's always good to go out of the mouth of babes to hear the truth. A little girl said, money isn't the only thing that counts. You have to have people who care about you. And I want to buy you things. Another girl said, so some people are too concerned with money, but not in my family. We're liberated from money. We spend it as soon as we get it. That's not very familiar. This 8-year-old boy had a more spiritual outlook on money. He said, if I won the lottery, I would think of those less fortunate. So I would give some to my brother because he's stupid and ugly. And is never going to get anywhere in life without my help. What a thoughtful child. Now, because some of the earlier Unity and New Thought writers had emphasized getting money as the basis of their teaching, we have a lot of prosperity teachers in Unity. You may have seen workshops and some of them traveling around the country doing their thing. You may get the idea that we are a prosperity movement or prosperity center. We've heard so many times through the years, affirm and become prosperous, pray and get rich, or like that book promises by Napoleon Hill, think and grow rich. I heard somebody introduce their friend to a Unity Center I was going to one time by saying, you can get rich by saying affirmations over and over again. Has that worked for anybody? I'm just curious. Has anybody?
I've tried it.
I've tried it a lot. Think and grow rich. How many people have thought and grown rich? Oh, Napoleon Hill. What were you thinking? So if you could say affirmations by getting rich, we would have maybe 30 or so millionaires sitting here today. Remember the book The Secret that came out a few years ago? Oh my gosh. There was a section. I thought about a necklace and it appeared on my neck, and so people started coming to Unity right after that. I mean, it was packed, and so I decided to do a class on The Secret, and I had 30, 40, 50 people coming to the first class. And when I said The Secret really is not true, the next class was about 10. How dare you not? But the secret is, I mean, there is some truth in it, but it was too simplistic. It was too absolutist to be of any earthly good. Because if you didn't think about that necklace being on your neck and then the next day it was not there, or a week later, or a month later it wasn't there, you thought you were a failure. And therefore this doesn't work. Well, the truth is this teaching does work. And the truth is thinking does not make you rich. Affirmations do not make you rich. Praying to God for more money does not make you rich. Nothing will make you rich. No thing makes us rich. Do we understand that? There's nothing outside of ourselves, even an affirmation or prayer, that draws us, that draws money to us, that draws help to us, that draws anything we're looking for. We have to understand that if we're going to get to the basis of what true prosperity is really about. Now, most of us don't want to be what the world calls uber wealthy. Some of us do, and if that's you, that's terrific. But we have to have a purpose for that wealth. We just can't think, oh, I need to be safe, therefore I'm going to gather everything and then the world will be fine. No, you have to have a purpose for having the money. If you want to be a millionaire, billionaire for some purpose on the planet, great, go for it. What we do want is access. We want access to the resources to take care of our daily needs without making them the purpose of why we're here. We want to be able to take care of our lives and have something available to go on vacation or go to a dinner or go to a movie or just bless other people with our good. You know, we all have daily needs to consider, of course. Rent, car payments, food, insurance, the kids' braces, the dog's teeth. The dog's teeth cleaning costs more than anything. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
I asked my dentist if I could bring my dog because she was so much cheaper. Clothing, double macchiato at Starbucks, $25, $30 now. It's astonishing how much this thing costs. But sometimes we feel if I could just get all my bills paid, I would feel prosperous. If I could just have a little more money at the end of the month, instead of having more month at the end of my money, it would be good. And sometimes we find ourselves getting a little deeper into the hole as every month goes by, and we wonder, how am I ever going to catch up to myself? Some come to me through the years I've been doing this ministry and say, I come here and I learn that I'm meant to be prosperous, that God desires, the universe desires that I be prosperous and move through me, but I feel a disconnect somehow. I know that to be true, and yet I don't see the result in my life. I don't see how it comes from here out to here. I don't know how to connect the teachings with my daily life. Anybody feel that a little bit? We all, I think, at times have felt that. Maybe you feel that right now. In the book Conversations with God, the author Neil Donald Walsh is chatting with God within himself, the higher self, as we call it. And he said, I've been at the spiritual game for over 20 years now, and look where it's gotten me, one paycheck away from the poorhouse. The response he got back from spirit within was profound, and it's always stayed with me. He heard, how long have you been engaged in your spiritual work is unimportant.
Are you engaged in it now? That's all that matters. You describe yourself as being one step away from the poorhouse. I look at you and see something quite different. I see a person who's one step away from the rich house. It's all one thought away. We can think poorhouse or we can think rich house. It's up to me. It's up to you. How am I going to picture it? How am I going to think about it? Being rich, being successful, being comfortable, being at peace, being healthy or pain-free or whatever it is that we want is all a matter of what we say it is. What we are holding as truth day by day, hour by hour, moment by moment. Whereas in our minds we may be one paycheck away from the poorhouse, God only sees good. God only sees your strength. God only sees abundance, only success, only health. God only sees himself when God beholds you. God can only see perfection because that's all God is. But our lives reflect what we believe about the truth. We're powerful enough, God beings, to create a different fantasy and then watch that show up. If we believe that life is tough, that I have to hold 3 jobs to survive, and the wealthy are only people who are filthy rich who got everything off the backs of those who are less fortunate, and I'll never have the opportunity to get out of this rut, then that is your reality because you are a powerful child of God who have declared it to be so. Many years ago in California, I was counseling this individual, and she said to me, I want to be prosperous, but I don't want to be filthy rich. I said, well, nobody wants to be filthy anyway. She said, but I don't want to be like those people. I don't want to be the filthy rich. I said, as long as you see rich people as filthy, you will never be that. And I could see that little cosmic 2x4 smack me around and oh my gosh. She said, I didn't realize I was using those words in relationship to wealthy people. I said, stop saying that. And about 3 or 4 months later, she came back and said, you know, I stopped saying that. I stopped saying that, and I got a wonderful job that pays more than I have ever had before. Change your languaging and watch your life change. What are you saying about wealth? What are you saying about money all day long? Sometimes we're not even aware that we're saying filthy rich. It's just as a term we use, but it's powerful. And it's telling the universe this is what filthy is, and I don't want to be that. So what are we saying day after day after day? So our dreams, our desires are moving forward from spirit, but we keep saying, no, it can't possibly be. It's filthy rich. And God goes, well, all right, if that's your belief, then God's not going to force us to have anything. The universe always says, I got this available, and will you have it? We go, no, I can't possibly do that. Well, okay, fine. Come back to me when you're ready. So this morning you had a little image in your mind, didn't you, of how wonderful it can be. And we have argued ourselves out of that picture somehow. We all have. So we need to check our hearts to find out what that desire is, to know that desire came from spirit, and that spirit knows how to bring it forth. I don't. I can't think and grow rich because I'm using my own brain, my own reasoning faculties, as opposed to the divine idea within me that knows how to move through it. So many of us have decided to be successful, I have to be a millionaire, or these days, even a billionaire. Of course not. To be prosperous means to be comfortable. That's all that means. To be prosperous means to have an abundance of good within you that is flowing forth. Abundance of love of people in your life. An abundance of loving the creativity and the talents that you have. Loving your life, and then, guess what? The rest flows forward. When you love what you do, everything else moves into your life. Marcia Sinitar, the wonderful writer, has a book called Do What You Love, The Money Will Follow. It's a wonderful reminder. You take your mind off, how am I going to do this, and you just do what you're here to do, and let the universe take care of the rest. So being prosperous for us could mean having a cottage by the lake where you can paint and read all day. How many people would love that? Henry has 2 hands up. Yeah, that's prosperity for some people. It could be that you have a business of your own that gives you satisfaction and creative stimulus. That's prosperity. For me, prosperity is standing here and looking at all these beautiful faces and sharing truth and seeing little light bulbs go off. Oh. And seeing that lives change because of what I do. This is my prosperity. This gives me more joy. Somebody said, your work should be play every day. And that's what my work is. It's play. It isn't strenuous, it's joyful. If your work is not joyful, think again. Think about another job you could do. For some people, it may mean traveling the world. Traveling the planet with your best friend in the world. That would be prosperity. And if it means being a billionaire and owning half the real estate in Bethesda and having a Rolls Royce, so be it. If that's what your soul longs for, go for it. Say, all right, I am open and receptive to what God has waiting for me. Whatever prosperity is for you is right and perfect. From having the Rolls to having a cottage at the lake, whatever it is your prosperity. Is right and perfect just for you. So how do we achieve that? How do I get from here, from the knowledge that this is true, to actually seeing it come forth in my life? Well, there are many ways of getting good as there are blessings of good. Every path is different, and you cannot follow another person's path to getting there. But having a prosperity consciousness, having that awareness is paramount. We have to develop a spiritual, prosperous awareness that is possible. Without the awareness that the good is already here within us, you had that picture, it didn't come from anywhere but you. It came from spirit within you. You didn't make it up. You weren't creating it as you were going along. That's a part of your DNA. It's part of your spiritual self, that picture you have. But we have to accept this is the truth. This came from spirit. And spirit has a way of bringing that out into my world. One of the richest and wisest men in the Bible is Solomon. Now, Solomon had challenges. Sometimes he was really wise, and other times he enslaved people to build his temple. So, the Bible writers say, he had good and bad going on at the same time. But besides Jesus, I think Solomon was the most prosperity-minded individual that we read in Scripture. Solomon was the son of King David, and after Solomon was made king, he had a dream one night where God said to him, "Ask, what shall I give you? What do you want, Solomon?" And Solomon said, "God, you made me a king, but I feel like a little kid. You gave me all this responsibility, and I feel, who am I to do all this? I don't know if I'm coming or going. So here's what I want, God. I want an understanding heart so that I can determine what is right when I'm guiding, when I'm being the king, when I'm doing my life. I want love and wisdom," as we heard Chip read from the Daily Word today. I had no idea that was the Daily Word today. I love when that happens. The universe comes together. Here's the idea for today. So in this dream, Solomon heard the response from God, which is, "Because you have not asked for anything like long life, or your enemies' lives, or riches, I now do according to your word. I give you a wise and discerning heart. And I give you what you have not asked for, both riches and honor." Jesus was even more blunt, even more to the point. He said, "Look for God within, and everything else will be added to you." Where's the fine print? What else do I have to do here? All right. What do I need to do? Is that it? Really? There's nothing more? Our brains always go there, don't they? Our brains always want to try to figure out what the catch is. Both Solomon and Jesus were talking about developing a consciousness of love and wisdom, of knowing the truth. That the guidance of God will be more than sufficient in our lives for everything that we need, everything we desire, and more than we could ever imagine or desire. Then we are led by Spirit within to do what we need to do. All riches the things necessary for living abundantly on the planet will be there. Right there, it'll be apparent, it'll show up in exactly the way that we need it. As Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, taught, thought plus feeling combined together equal the demonstration of what we're looking for. So my thought of prosperity, my thought of good has to equal my feeling. It has to match. An understanding heart, thought, and mind together have to work in balance and harmony. So our thought of good plus our feeling of seeing it come into my life makes it apparent. It's very clear what the next step will be. Or it could be like it has so often been in all of our lives. My thought of, I'd love to have, for example, a restaurant. Oh, but that'll never happen. We get our big butt in the way of our good. I would love this, but oh, that's a really attractive person, but that's a wonderful apartment, but eliminates everything God says, everything God has, everything that God is moving through us. The big but kicks it out. And then our feeling of, where am I going to get the money in Washington, D.C. for yet another restaurant that'll probably fail in a month? Gee. And I pray all the time, and all my affirmations don't seem to be working. I wonder why. And then we remain stuck where we are, and we say, well, that Unity stuff doesn't work. And it doesn't work, this affirmation stuff, it doesn't work. So many people come here and say, I love Unity, but it doesn't work. Well, it works when we work it. When we let it works beautifully. The thought instead needs to be, I am creating a marvelous restaurant where people will flock to eat good, healthy food in an atmosphere of love and joy. They can't wait to come back. Boy, I'd love to go to that restaurant, wouldn't you? I'm sure they're there. Plus, the feeling of God is leading me to the right investors, the right location, the right employees, the right wholesalers, and the right customers. I can't wait to see how God's doing this. I am joyfully open and receptive to all of God's wisdom working through me now, and I am grateful. Those things together equal success. It cannot not work when you let God do the work through you. As Jesus said, it's not me, it's God working through me. It's not I, it's Christ within. God within that does the work. If I think I'm doing the work, I'm messing it up. I'm in the way. I've got to let Spirit do this through me. I am a perfect channel for God's good, for God's success, for God's abundance to work in my life. Now the problem has been twofold. I've been praying for the opposite to happen. I haven't realized that, but I have been praying for the opposite to happen. When I say, I would love a great restaurant in D.C., but I can't see how that will happen. I would love my life to work perfectly, but I can't see how that will happen. Affirm that with me. No. Okay. We do it every other day. But no. We don't realize we're saying these things. They just become habit. We need to drop that habit. So I believe in God out of the equation. I believe in God completely out. Even though I may have been coming to Unity 20, 30, 40 years, I believe in God out. I believe in the universal knowledge of how to do this out of my life. And that's true for prosperity, for healing, for relationship issues, whatever it is that we're going through. I believe in Spirit out. I think I can do this on my own, and I can't. The challenge has been I've been praying amiss, as our older brother said, How come this prayer is not working? You've been praying wrong. Oh, what's the right way to pray? Well, we've been praying affirmatively. We've been praying passionately. I'll never get this job. I don't see how this is going to work. I work and work and work and I never get ahead. Why do I always find women who only want my money, which they don't have anyway? Or Why do I only find men who can't commit? Or God, I'm going to be old and alone with 19 cats. Who wants to affirm that with me? I've seen many t-shirts with that on there. DC is out to get me. Everybody's crazy here. Together. When I first got here, somebody said, everybody's a spy. Don't say anything. That's a great affirmation too, isn't it? We're that powerful. We are powerful enough that we say these things, and then we see our lives show up that way, and then we get really angry. But I'm the one who said it. I'm the one who created that with faith, with the absolute resolve that this is a crazy town where there's no money for me. We're powerful. Jesus said in John 10:34, you're gods. You're baby gods who are creating this life. So what are you creating? What do you want? What kind of a life do you want, baby God? You get to make it up. You get to create it. With your thoughts, your feelings, your words, and your actions. The third of our basic unity teachings. This is called the creative process. What I think, what I say, what I'm moving on, what I'm feeling all day long is what I'm creating. Over and over and over again. There was a woman in Japan by the name of Junko Tabai who wanted to be a mountaineer. In the Japanese culture, women aren't exactly encouraged to pursue anything that has been traditionally men only. But Junko really wanted to climb mountains. It was a passion for her. She thought about it, she read about it, that's all she was focused on. It gave her joy even just to read about mountains. And so she said, I'm going to do this, even when the men around her were ridiculing her during the climbs, and even when these same men were barring her from joining their expedition clubs. She knew in her heart, this is what I'm here to do, so I'm going to do it. I don't care what these guys say. She followed her heart so fully and so clearly, truly knowing this is what she wanted to do in her life, that she became the very first woman to climb Mount Everest. Her joy got her all the way to the top there. Now, she said something happened after that climb. Something happened to change her perception forever. She stopped caring what people thought about her. She started speaking her mind without fear. She quit pretending that she was a weak woman when she was in the company of men who could only accept a weak woman. Not only did her passion lead her to do what she wanted to do, but it began spilling out over all the other areas of her life as well. She's now considered to be a hero in Japan. And she's become a role model for other women to aspire to their own dreams. She said, I did this. I was the first woman to do this. You can be the first woman to do whatever you're here to do. Or the third or fourth, doesn't matter how many. If you're here to do it, you're here to do it. Enjoy it. Have faith you can do it. Be joyful, be grateful for it. And then watch God at work. Again, how is not up to you. Don't get caught up in how, because you're never going to know how until it's revealed. I don't know how this is going to happen. I don't know how the money's going to come. I don't know how the hit. Who cares? How is not up to you. It is not up to you. Your job is to see what it is, to let that dream that you had earlier, let that be the truth of who you are, and say, God, you do this because I don't know. I don't know how until you reveal it. But it'll be perfect just for you. What do you think would really happen if you followed your heart? What would your life look like if you followed your heart? Again, in counseling years ago, somebody came to me and they were so upset they were doing, she was a wonderful executive in a company, but she was miserable because she said her family did not like what she was doing. I said, what is there not to like? I said, you're well off, you're doing what you want to do, you have a great home. She said, every time I go home, they say I'm showing them up, that I'm an embarrassment to them, that nobody in our family has done that, and how dare you do that? I said, sometimes we need to divorce our families. If they're not supportive of us, bless them and love them from afar, and continue following your dream. And she did. She did. Who's telling you you can't do what you're here to do? Maybe it's just a tape in, or how old I am, a tape. A DVR in your mind. Playing over and over and over again. Maybe it sounds like your mom, maybe it sounds like your grandmother, maybe it sounds like an authority figure from your past. Let it go. It's not the truth, because that's not a God voice. A God voice says, go for it. A God voice says, I have this for you. Why are you not saying yes to it? And You Can Heal Your Life, Louise Hay wrote, rejoice in the abundance of being able to awaken each morning and experiencing a new day. Be glad to be alive, to be healthy, to have friends, to be creative, to be living an example of the joy of life. Live to your highest awareness. Begin to recognize prosperity everywhere and enjoy it. That's really great. Rejoice in the abundance of every moment. It's everywhere. I just have to say yes to it. When we put God first, when we say, God, you're in charge. What is mine to do? Give me this day my daily bread. Divine substance. What is mine to do today? Maybe it's to go for a walk. Maybe it's to redo my resume. Maybe it's to, what is God leading you to do just for this day? The love and wisdom of an understanding heart knows what you need to do today, tomorrow, and the rest of your life. Give me an understanding heart, and all the rest will be yours as well. But we have to raise our joy level. We have to raise our enthusiasm. We have to raise our gratitude and faith. We have to get excited, because here's where God works on the excitement level. God doesn't work on the, oh my God, what am I going to do level. It just doesn't work down here. It works up here. Lift your head up. Look at the horizon. Look and see the good waiting for you. Take a breath. Close your eyes. Go to your heart. Go to that understanding heart that God is within you. So I have an assignment. I want you to close your eyes and bring this to your heart and promise to yourself, you and the God of your being, that your affirmation this week is the picture of my dream coming true is real. God is at work on it now. The picture of my dream is coming true. God is at work in it now. Make an agreement with the God of your being to let God be God in you today. The second assignment is only kind words come out of your mouth this week. Only kind words about yourself, about your dream, about everything. Take a breath. Breathe out. Breathe in. As we go into our meditation time, we sing our way in. In the silence of the sacred place, the secret meeting place, love is there.
In the silence, there is a sacred place, a secret meeting place. Love is there. In the silence, where every color blends and every rainbow ends, good is there. In the light, now you find that you know peace of mind. In the silence, your path is paved in gold, and all your dreams unfold. Love is there, peace is there. Truth is there. God is there.
Breathe in that love, that wisdom, the joy of God. Always looking for expression. But God doesn't force its way into our lives. God needs permission to move forward. God needs a yes from me, from you. God is at work in me, through me, for me right now. I invite you to go back to that dream, to that vision you had at the beginning of the service. Let that be a living picture from Spirit. That dream, that desire, that goal comes from God. You didn't make it up. It's something you came with. It was your divine plan to experience this good. The only reason I don't is because I've been saying no in some way to the fullness of God, to the good of God. God's only desire for us is to be happy, to be prosperous, to find joy, love, and wisdom on this planet. We have come with a divine purpose to live fully. Am I doing that? Today I change my mind if I'm not, and I allow all of Spirit to move forward, to be a blessing in every single area of my life. The picture of my dream coming true is real because it's God. The healing power of God is at work in my mind, my body, my soul. I am healed and made whole by the love of God within. I am healed and made whole by the love of God within. Breathe that truth in every cell, every molecule of your being. The abundant good of God is always here. I simply have to know it is. I accept the fullness of abundance, prosperity, and success in every area of my life. Breathe that truth into your heart. God is the light on my path. My way is made clear, joyful, and grateful. I know what to do, and I do it with faith. In the quiet of our being, just for a few moments, all it takes is 1 second of realization for God to do God's work. In the silence, I give God permission. I give God my yes to do the work. Let go and let God be God. Bring ourselves back into this time, this room, this place. We sing our way back with the greatest thing in all my life is loving you. The greatest
mysteries unfold. For that's the way of time. Nothing and all goes unchanged. There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds, sunlight up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly. Winter turns to spring. Wonder will heal, but never much to soothe. Yes, everything must change.